soil seems to be the one thing that really connects everything.
On our farm, our soil is our biggest resource. It's essentially like having money in the bank.
This is a very exciting area for me because it integrates both field work as well as computer and predictive modeling.
Soil is the common thread that ties these three people together. The management and preservation of soil has become their life's work. Meet three of Nova Scotia's Soil Defenders. This trio is dedicated to protecting our soil. Soil defenders may not wear capes, but they're kind of superheroes in their own way. That's because food connects everyone. We all need to eat, and almost all of the food we eat started with a plant growing in soil.
I always found that soil was the common ground, pun intended.
Soil defenders like Caitlin use science, technology, and time-tested techniques to help enhance our soil's nutrients while protecting it for future generations. Soil defenders also ensure Nova Scotian farmers have a bountiful harvest. That means we get to enjoy tasty local food at home, school, and in restaurants. Most importantly, soil defenders don't take anything for granted. That's because soil is what's called a limited resource. You might say there's only so much of it to go around on the ground.
As a non-renewable resource, that means that soil takes a long time to form, and so it can't regenerate at the pace that we are using soil in agriculture or forestry. So that means that we need to use proper management and proper practices to help maintain our soil for the future.
Caitlin attended Dalhousie University's Faculty of Agriculture. Long before university, she felt strongly about protecting the environment. Caitlin turned that passion into a career. Caitlin does soil testing. She helps producers with issues like erosion, drainage problems, compaction when the ground is too hard, or making the soil healthier. She may advise farmers to add fertilizer to their soil because harvesting and other farming practices can remove nutrients. Lime may be needed if the soil is too acidic. Soil requirements and challenges vary across farms and areas of Nova Scotia. Some soil is harder to grow things in, and so what works for one field and farmer may not work for another.
There are a lot of different solutions to a lot of different problems, and you have to really think about your soil on your field.
Soil is a world within our world. It's staggering to think about all the insect and biological activity happening in one garden patch or farmer's field. Soil is a complex ecosystem that helps to sustain life on Earth. If we don't protect our soil, we're in big trouble. Soil doesn't renew or regenerate year after year, or come back, let's say, like the tide does, or how streams and lakes rise after a big rainstorm, or in spring when the snow and ice melt. Heavy rains and strong winds can wash the soil away. Remember, we get what we get. No one, not even a dedicated soil defender, is showing up years from now to save the planet with trillions of tons of brand new soil to spread around globally. Our long-term food sustainability depends on having healthy soil over many generations. We must manage the soil and use it smartly, or we will lose it. Did you know? Approximately 70% of the Earth's landmass is covered in bodies of water like oceans, rivers, and lakes. Less than 3% of the Earth's surface has ideal soil and growing conditions. Most land is either too wet, rocky, or dry, like the mountains and desert. That means farmers must rely on technology, science, and innovation to develop land for agriculture. The world's population keeps growing, but the land suitable for farming doesn't keep multiplying, and neither does our soil supply. We must protect both. Soil defender Brandon teaches in the Faculty of Agriculture at Dalhousie University. He studies soil science and geographical information systems. Brandon is an expert in the digital mapping of soil using geographical information systems.
I do a lot of research in soils. In particular, I'm very interested in making maps of soil and trying to figure out where different types of soils and their properties are located.
Soil contains mineral particles, organic matter, water, and air. A combination of these determines what's known as soil properties. That's the texture, structure, acidity, chemistry, and color of soil. During his research, Brandon refers to satellite and drone imagery. He also uses a GPS system to track where he's located in a field or plot of land. A soil mapping GPS works like the device in a smartphone that helps with directions. This area of soil science is called precision agriculture. Digital soil mapping visually captures the location of any soil contamination, heavy metals, rock, and other soil properties, which may become challenges that Nova Scotian farmers must manage.
If you think about it, these days many of us have GPS systems in our car, and that tells us where we are. So very much like in an agricultural or a farm field, you could put one of these GPS systems on a tractor with another computer next to it. You can put a map into that computer, and that computer will then determine how much fertilizer and water, for example, to spray.
Because of soil defenders like Brandon, Nova Scotia has become a national leader in this field.
Digital soil mapping is an area of discipline that's emerged over the last 10 years in Canada, and I'm one of the very first people to be implementing those types of techniques in the country.
Soil mapping is one of many tools in a soil defender's toolbox. But this crucial work doesn't always require cutting-edge technology, as is the case with soil defender Shannon. The organic farmer has apprenticed and volunteered globally. She's worked on farms in 8 countries, including India, Peru, and Mexico. Shannon brings that knowledge with her to the farm she now co-owns in Nova Scotia.
Soil is what makes our whole farm run properly. And so we really want to protect that soil. We want to make sure that it never blows away. We want to make sure that it never washes away in heavy rains. We want to protect it, and we want to protect everything that lives in it, because the soil is an ecosystem and there's so many different beings in it. In fact, scientists don't even know all the different beings in the soil yet. It's still like an undiscovered world, kind of like space or the deep ocean.
Shannon grows organic vegetables, flowers, and herbs. She also produces seeds and seedlings for people who like to garden. The soil on Broad Fork Farm has high sand content. The organic farmer must manage the soil because it's at risk to blow away. She and her partner now add specific things to help build it.
We add compost, and we add other natural ingredients like alfalfa meal, sometimes seaweeds or crab meal from the ocean. And these things have minerals in them naturally, and this way we can add these minerals to the soil, and it helps the life in the soil.
Another soil defender tool Shannon uses is a process called cover crops. They're grown specifically to help improve the soil, not for people or animals to eat. Shannon rotates the unharvested cover crops with plants that are grown specifically for consumers and the marketplace.
When those cover crops mature, we mow them down, and then we'll pull a big tarp over them. The tarp works so that any plants underneath can no longer access the sun. They don't get any photosynthesis, and so they'll die back. And then when we pull that tarp over, then it's basically a pretty bare area, although we didn't disturb any of the organisms that live under the soil. Being able to work and live on a farm where I can manage spaces for other species as well as make my living from managing species of crops that I sell to other humans is really important to me. Soil is the basis of all life on Earth.
There is an honor connected with being a soil defender. You aren't awarded that title easily. You earn it by helping to manage and maintain this critical and limited natural resource. You've now met 3 of the many Nova Scotians who help ensure that we have a steady supply of fresh, healthy food. They stand united in the effort to protect soil against things like storms, drought, or erosion. The next time you visit a farm, your grocery store, or enjoy some of our province's delicious local foods and beverages, remember they're available in part because of our soil defenders. Coming from differing backgrounds, they've dedicated their lives and work to a vast and mostly unseen world underneath us. A fascinating frontier that impacts everything, including our food supply, something we must never take for granted. Remember, we all have a role to play in protecting the soil. You can also become a soil defender.